Okay, so I printed out the circle of fifths as a reference for if you're less familiar with the keys, especially since we're doing a lot of the theory and you have to do it in the different keys and thinking of what's the 1 chord, what's the 5 chord, what key am I in. So there's actually something really cool about the circle of fifths that I wanted to bring out, right? So let's see, where she can do this one is C. Alrighty, so what the circle of fifths, so actually I don't want to do all the talking. Austin, you had tried to explain the circle of fifths to Veronica last time. Give us a very brief version,
okay.
As succinct as you can, because our language matters. So what does the circle of fifths tell us?
Well, first important thing to know is it starts on C major.
Yep.
And the reason it starts on C is because that key signature has no accidentals, whether sharp or flat. So just like on the piano, it's all white keys. And as you either go up from C a fifth or down from C a fourth, so if you say, let's go from C to G, you get to the next key signature in the cycle, which will have one accidental or one sharp in the cycle.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm gonna come back to that fourth thing. So yes, as you go up a fifth interval each time on the keyboard, okay? So here's, when we're counting intervals, we always count the note we're playing, right? So C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so you go up a fifth, and then that will, if you start your scale on G major, you should have an F sharp in there based on this. Right, so if you follow that pattern, the F sharp is going to appear. And if you go up another fifth and you start your scale on D, and then you get 2 sharps, right? So they all keep getting stacked on top of one another. So you get this lovely chart right here. Okay. Notice that, so from C to G, that's a fifth. From C to F, if we're going to go to the left, that's still a fifth. All right. And so which is why when you said a fourth, I've heard that it's called a circle of fourths as well. Couldn't turn my brain around how it. Oh, there's a fourth. Okay. So what you were thinking is so ideally on the circle of fifths, when you go to the left, we go down a fifth. Now you're adding flats to your key signature every single 5. Right? But notice here for the B flat, it's not B because you've already used B in the major, in the sharp scales, which is why we have to alter that slightly to turn it into B flat and then E flat, A flat, D flat. Right? So that fourth that Austin had mentioned is actually, so if you're thinking going up a fourth, C, 2, 3, 4. If you go up a fourth, then you're adding flats as well, as opposed to going down a fifth. That's right. So it's not talking about not necessarily going to the left here, but whether you're going up in fourths and you're adding flats. If you go up in fifths, you're adding sharps. Okay, so that's where that. So yes, of course you can look both ways.
Thank you for that correction.
Yeah, sounds like
It's hard to differentiate because really, so like, if you think about it, if you start on C flat major, and you go up fifth, then you're at G flat, just one less flat, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's still like the circle of fifths.
Yeah.
It's just where you start on it.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That.
Right. So usually it's more frequently referred to as circle of fifths. You can certainly think of it as in fourths as well if you wanted to switch which way you were going. Okay.
So what's the inner circle?
Oh, great question. Yes. So inner circle, notice that they're all lowercase, so those are the minor scales that are related. So they actually, so A minor shares the same key signature as C major, so meaning no sharps and no flats. Okay, so then we can get so C major, A minor, and just the fact that you're starting, notice that they're always a third below one another. So C, 1, 2, 3 half steps. Right? So C, skip 3 half steps, you get down to an A. If you start at G, go down 3 half steps, you get to an E. Right, so you do get music whose tonality, a composer can write a piece in C major. They can also write a piece whose tonality sits in A minor, so that'd be a darker, sadder piece if they wanted to do it that way. All right. Another cool thing that actually shows up in this right here. All right, so if you're thinking in the key of C major, which is what I drew on the board. First, someone showed this to me. No way. Right, so the first chord, what is it? C major, so capital C. What is the second chord?
D minor.
D minor. Third chord?
E minor.
Never do lowercase. Fourth chord?
F.
Fifth?
G.
Six?
A minor.
7?
D
diminished, and we're back to C. Alright? Alright, so these are the chords in here. And this technically just tells you all the scales, right? You take a look at C though. G major, that chord exists in C. F major, that chord exists in C major. A minor, that exists in the key of C. The E minor chord exists in the key of C. And of course the D minor also exists in the key of C. Alright, so if you use a circle of fifths, just by looking at the slice that is your key and then going to the right and to the left, you get the 6 chords, excluding this guy, because this guy's special. Right? You get the 6 major and minor chords that exist in your scale. So it doesn't matter which one you start on. So if you start on A major, you're going to have a D major chord in there. You're going to have a D major chord. Then B minor, F sharp minor, C sharp minor. Yeah, right? So these cool things, these phenomena, the patterns that just show up in music. What sorcery is this? Right? So this actually becomes super handy, especially we're talking so much of chords now, right? To help you double check if you're playing the correct quality in the key that you're in, you can check the ones surrounding the circle of fifths. Yeah? Okay. Okay, so keep that next to you, might come in handy during today's class. Let's hop over to page 53. Before we get into 53, the other handout I gave you guys. So these are the most standard fingerings for when we start putting chords in inversions, which is where our theory is leading us, right? We're playing chords in the closest position so that certain chords get inverted, all right? But looking at the handout that I gave you guys, so let's do the left hand, right? In the right hand, that's underlined, right? But in root position, it'll usually always be 5, 3, 1. Because you're skipping every other note, so use every other finger. Okay. Play in the root position. Yeah, and do it in your left hand. Doing your left hand for today. Nice. Great. So now you're going to take that slower C that you're playing, and you're going to move it up top. So now you're like E, G, C. And check the fingering numbers that's given there for you. So it's still 5, 3, 1. Yep. Now take that bottom E and move it up top again and reset your hand. And now it's 5, 2, 1 in your left hand. So this one is 5, 2, 1. Good. There it is. A little bit more comfortable. Yes. And back to root position. Yes. Go back to root. Everyone's on root. Yeah, we go back to root position. Yeah. So root position on C. So root position right there. So perfect skips. Yeah, there we go. All right. Pause for a second. Right, so in root position, so if you're actually taking a look right here, even just on the image you can see. So then, when you're in first inversion, notice that you have more space in between your 3 and the 1. And so we stretch with our opposable thumb. Okay. And then on the second inversion, you would have one finger on each note, so it'd be 5, 4, 3, 2. Your second finger naturally falls on the C in second inversion, and then we stretch our thumb to get to the E. Okay. Yeah, so actually you're gonna do this. So you're obviously just looking at your own hands because you gotta know where you're going. But you're in root position. Hold on a second, don't play. So you're in root position. We're gonna shift everything up. Still 5, 3, 1. Shift things up, 5, 2, 1 this time. Alright. So let's try. So root. We're in C major. Back to root. Yeah, root is a perfect snowman on root. Good. Now take that bottom C, move it up. Still 5, 3, 1. Bottom note in E, G, and a C. Yeah, put your third finger, use your third finger. Yeah, there you go. Alright, and then now go into second inversion. Good, 5, 2, 1. Alrighty, keep that in mind. So it doesn't matter what chord you're playing, right? If it's the first inversion, most of the time it will be, if it's your left hand, 5, 3, 1. Then if you go to second inversion, it'll be a 5, 2, 1, just because of the intervals between the keys, right? And then you'll notice, look at the right hand fingerings. It's always opposite. Only in root position is it always the same, 1, 3, 5. So when your left hand is using a 3, your right hand's using a 2, and vice versa.
That's going to be true regardless of what key you're in?
For the most part, yes. Yes. Good, pause for a second. So you'll notice there are a couple scales where, because of where the black keys are, it might feel a little awkward, and you might have to change them. And so you can alter them. I can't list them off the top of my head right now. Should probably be able to. I'll go over that after class. And so be able to tell you which ones wouldn't follow this, but right now I can tell you the majority of them will follow this. It'll fit your hand very well. Okay? Alright. So we're looking at page 53, the second treble clef. Okay? So on Tuesday we had played this in the right hand, but now you're going to play it in the left hand. Okay? And you're written in C major, right, which is not a problem. Right? If you have a pencil ready, that'd be great, because I have you write in the finger numbers. Okay. Right, so if we're thinking about it in bass clef, you're still playing it in C major. Your 1 chord. And then the 4 chord that you're playing right there, is that a first inversion or is that second inversion?
First.
Second inversion.
It's second inversion. Very good, because it's F, A, C. The C is on the bottom. So that means your fingering is going to be what?
5, 2, 1.
5, 2, 1, because it's second inversion. And then you go back to root position C major. Now that 5 chord, is that first inversion or second inversion? First inversion, so you're going to use 5, 3. Yeah.
Wait, going back to the 4 chord, since that's in treble clef, wouldn't that be played with the right hand, so it'd be 1, 3, 5?
I want you guys to play in the left hand though.
Okay, cool.
Yep. There's a reason to my madness, you'll see on the next page. Yeah, because we did, actually, we did it in the right hand on Tuesday, so now just playing your left hand. Good, so now we have the fingerings. Let's start playing through this. There we go. And let's do it in 4/4. So we have time to say to F major. I'm going to chant it for you. All right? Here we go. You're just focusing on the finger numbers. So 1, 2, C major, F major, C major, G major, C major. Yeah, once more. 1, 2, C major, F major, C major, G major, C. Ooh, that one's interesting. Let's double check your G major in first inversion. So B's on the bottom, D, G. Yep. Can everyone play the 5 chord? B, D, G. There it is. And now back to 1. Okay. So when the progression happens to be 1, 4, 1, 5, right? There's always a common tone in between each chord, and that's what you're keeping the same. Looking for what notes are repeated, then that's what defines what inversion you're going to be in. So if you keep it, for example, looking at the 1 going to the 4, that C stays right where it is, and notice the C is the bottom note. So you're going to keep the C as the lowest note, and then you set the other ones, and you end up in second inversion. Yeah. Okay. Plug in your headphones because we're going to do this in G major. Okay, so if you're in the key of G major, your 4 chord is going to be which one? You can use this to go fit this handy to you. So if you're in G major, what's your 4 chord? So it should be C major. Can you put my piano in? So if you're in G major, so your 4 chord starts on C, so just C major. Your 5 chord is going to start on D, D, F sharp, A. All right, but we're starting in root position for your G major. This would be 5, 3, 1. All right, it's going to move the same way. So now if you take your 2, keep the G right there. And also you are spelling C major in second inversion. G, C, E, 5, 2, 1. And then back to G major. This I'm going to keep that D right where it is. You're going to drop your other 2 fingers to an F sharp and an A, because that's in your key signature. And back to 1. So this pattern it's very much a physical one, right? You see it in a lot of music, so just to get used to what that feels like to go from a root position to second inversion, root position, first inversion. Right? And we are in G major. You're looking at the Roman numerals. We're just thinking G major, C major, G major, D major. Okay. Don't actually look at the treble clef, because that's going to mess you up, because we're transposing here. All right. Starting here. In 4 chord. 1, 2, G major, C major, G major, D major, G major. Yes? Okay, we're going to take that 5 right there, we're going to turn it into a 5-7 chord. Let's see. So that 5-7, now we're back thinking in the key of C major. Okay, so exactly the way it's written. Okay. So we have in a G major, in C major, your dominant chord is going to be a G, B, D. And then we're going to need to add a 7th interval. It's going to be that F, right? It's literally from G to F, it's a 7th, which is why they call it a 7 chord. And on our music, it will look like a V with a 7 up top, superscript. Okay, so that means as you're playing here, you're just going to add an F in there, and it just sounds like a very crunchy chord, because now there's dissonance in there, but we like that, because that dissonance will resolve to a C major. All right? So this time when you get to that 5, make it into a 5-7. So just add an F in there. And we're in C major with your left hand. 1, 2, C major. F major. C major. G7. C major. Thinking the key of G major this time. So in the key of G major, your dominant chord, it starts on D. And you need a 7th above that. So you need to add a C into your chord. Okay, here's our G major in 4/4. 1, 2, 3, play. C major, G major, 7, G major. I'm going to do that again. If you're solid on one hand, go ahead and add your other hand. Again, just so that both can feel the shape of it. So 1, 2, G major, C major, G major, D7, G major. That's got a big crunch to it. Yeah. Can I put you guys in pairs? Maybe just double check that when we're sitting next to you, you've got what that feels like to change finger numbers. It'll just take us a couple minutes to go over it. There you go.
All right.
Okay, so I missed. What's the new
Yes, we do.
7.
So, I play D and oh, that's loud.
C major. Perfect. Back to G. D7.
Back to G.
Perfect.
And then shift.
Instead of an F.
There's the
Yep, you got it. Perfect.
Oh, I think we're paired, so. I think we're paired.
You understand?
I can see just
Yeah. Yeah.
C plus.
Can you hear me?
Well, C in this case, because it was.
Oh, put your
C major.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seven.
Okay, so now we're.
Yep. And
Yeah,
back.
what's your?
So,
Would you keep it?
where did you?
Perfect. You got it.
Five, 7, because it was F sharp,
Yeah, like that.
put the C in there.
C, so be the one
There's
to
little
five.
things you
Yeah.
can do that you can divide.
So then you have to go
When your
to
fingers
G.
are
You have to add that.
Sure.
You do.
And you add
It's so
And then notice that this.
Oh, I can
is
I see.
did that right.
Yeah. And then put the F right next
I
to
understand
it.
what you meant, guys.
Yeah. I didn't catch what you
Yeah.
said for the finger.
Yeah, perfect. So it's
The
lateral.
Just a second.
Yeah,
it's a-
good.
And then
So for C major.
to get to the 5, you do the second and then bring.
Yeah.
You got it.
And then you go back to C major. You just go up.
Yeah, it is really.
Keep my thumb on the same G. Yeah, like that.
Oh, with the, with
It's harder to
I'm
do.
trying to think of what you can do.
Yep. This voice is plus
Definitely this.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah,
That's all right. Is that what we did here?
yeah, that's what we're doing
All
there.
right.
Yeah.
So
we're
what he
adding-
was saying was that
Uh,
as he got older, his range kind of diminished, but he wanted to keep that very high range that he had as a little boy. So he just kept practicing his high range and just kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, and eventually he just got to the point where he could sing full voice at a very
Well, it's a
And then when you go back to G.
probably.
Who's the third?
Third, that's what it is. So you
I don't know the
play-
exact size of like countertenor and orchestra and all that.
Yeah, so
Do that in your left side.
moving top to right.
Those two, so four, there's another.
That's the other one.
Oh,
Yes.
So this is the,
Yes.
Yep,
that's this?
yep,
What's this?
okay, that's that five you're playing. Yep.
Which is a 5/7,
Yes.
which is the
Yeah,
5/7, isn't it?
Sorry, what?
What is the 5? It is a
Yeah, it's a very,
5/7.
falsetto is a very weak sound, so you
I
can't
thought,
really
I
project
thought
falsetto
not
that
just
much.
like the 7.
This is a five.
C major.
Okay,
And which fingers do you play?
okay, that's just,
I don't actually know. I don't know the answer to that.
One for the F sharp, the three for
I'm
the
sure somebody,
A,
is that right?
4
somebody
for
on
the
this
C,
floor can answer that,
5 for the
because,
D.
you know, this side of the floor is piano,
That feels
and the
most
other side
Makes
is
sense.
voice, so. Sure, if you knock on one of their doors, they'll be able to answer that for you.
Yes, that's it.
Did you do the visualizer on the 5/7 on the?
Okay.
You wanna do another key, you wanna do it in G?
So we could see when you played that 7.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Why not? So to me,
In the C,
Mhm.
F7.
that was sort of.
That's
so
it?
this is in D, is that
That's
right?
in C.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Considering
Have the
the
option
Since
of
it's
sharp.
in G.
Wouldn't you feel like you should be able to play?
Yes, when
That's
you're in
right.
G of G major.
That's always my,
Yeah.
Right.
I never tried.
Well, it's a lot easier when you say that.
So then, yeah, this is where it gets hard. So
Yeah,
you have
so
to- there's an F sharp in the key of G.
Yeah, there's your
Yeah,
five
okay,
cents.
so you're down to F sharp, and we went to five.
A.
D,
F
D,
sharp.
F sharp, G.
My mom was a teacher and
Yeah.
That's that for you.
This one's kind of tricky.
Yeah.
It's almost
Back
impossible.
to A, then the 5 is E.
It feels weird to
Yeah.
just push down.
Totally
For
weird.
E, you could do.
So what is the fingerings for?
Yeah.
I missed that bit.
She was a voice teacher.
5, 4,
And then
Take one more note up, that's it.
5,
she
4,
got a job as a
Yeah,
high
that's it,
school
that's it.
teacher.
1.
As a high school
Oh, that's
teacher.
really.
That's the 5.
Yeah.
She's enjoying
And
it.
that's
That's
it,
a hard
that's it,
one.
yeah.
It's not for her. Who knows? I think it depends on these kids.
That's it right there then.
Alright, you guys have several groups have already discovered that a 5/7, when you play all 4 pitches, it feels really weird in our hand to have to push down all 4, right? And composers knew that, they knew what was going on and what pianists are capable of doing, right? I had you guys play all 4 pitches, just to make sure that you realize that a 5/7 chord, it has 4 pitches, it's made out of, it's a 4-pitch chord, alright? But actually what a lot of times will happen, let's see, so we have, think in the key of C major. Here's my dominant. G, B, D, F. Right, I'm gonna keep that right there, G, B, D, F. So in the inversion that we're in, we need to put this, we need it in the first inversion. So take this G right here, I'm gonna stick it up here, right? It was down here, it's not up here. All right, so this is the one that feels kind of strange for us to play. So a lot of times what will happen, if you're thinking of the fact that it has a 4-note chord, I'm going back to the position, we have to have the G, right? No question about it, that's our dominant. We have to have the F, because that's our 7th, all right? So now in between the 2 notes you have left, which one is more important?
What's that again? Say again. What's
So the question is, so we know we have to have a G, we have to have the F. Now between B and D, which one would be the more important? Andrew?
To the third.
The third, this guy right here, because that's what makes it between a major chord and a minor chord, right? So we need to have a B in there. We need to have the third. So a lot of times, so that fifth note, what doesn't matter whether you're in a major chord or a minor chord, that's always a D, right? But we have to have a B, right? So a lot of times what composers will do, they'll leave out that D because it's an open pitch. It doesn't do anything for us, right? So then, here's my C, here's my F. Now I'm going to go to the 5/7, but I'm only going to play the 3 most important pitches out of the 4. And I'm not playing that D. And that's the D that was making you guys feel really uncomfortable. So 5/7 a lot of times will show up in piano music as this. And you're playing with a 5-2-1. And then back to C major. Yeah. It's a lot of information. A lot of numbers, a lot of different notes. Actually comes in super handy in our, we're gonna harmonize that melody that we briefly touched on Tuesday. But go into G major. Now here's our root position. Go to your 4 chord, which is second inversion. Go back to the root chord. We're gonna go to the 5/7, which is D, F sharp, A, C. But we're going to play only D, F sharp, leave out the A, and the C. And that's easier for us to play. 3 out of the 4 pitches. And back to G major. Alright. We're going to actually use that. Alright, so turn over to page 55. We're looking at item C. That is Brighton. Notice that has 1 sharp, so we're in G major. And just for a second, we're going to put the chords on a shelf on the back burner. We're going to play that melody. So everyone find this D. What's the lowest note that you're reading this melody?
G.
Oh, we're on page 55. So your lowest note is a G, and your highest note is a D. Right, so you're in a G major pentascale. Let's try out this melody. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Take that left hand of yours and bring the chords back. Okay, this is why I had you play chords in your left hand earlier. Put in a G major chord. There's your right hand. The rest of your hands are 2 octaves apart. So notice this one. You might want to pencil this in. So the measure 1 is a 1 chord. And measure 3 is going to go to a 5/7 chord. And it's going to go back to a 1 chord. So there's no 4 chord in this progression. So 1, 1, 5/7, 1. And it ends up sounding like this. And that 5/7 is just a little bit more colorful than a regular 5 chord. Play just your left hand if you want to focus on that. If you think you do both at the same time, that's great, go for that. Alright, so you're going to play a G chord, 2, 3, repeat it, 1, 2, go to 5/7, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so check the visualizer. Here's your G. Here's my 5/7, which is a D7. That's what I'm playing right now. Back to the G. Find the D7. I'm leaving out this note, I'm leaving out the A. And back to G. Okay, so hang on to that left hand, you're just playing the 1 chord, we're going to the 5/7, and back to 1. Oh, I have the melody in front of me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How does that sound? You get the chords? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna play the chords with you this time so you can hear what it sounds like. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's our first line right there. Okay. We do need to talk about how I knew that was a 1 chord and how I knew that was going to be a 5/7. Okay. So if you look at the first 2 bars in the melody, I have a D, I have a B, and then sing 2 notes, and then I have a G. Okay, so the majority of the notes in those 2 measures make up the G major chord. That's why I'm going to put a G major chord in my left hand. All right. Now in bar 3, I have a C, and I have an A, and I have a D. Okay, so if I was to unscramble that C right there is kind of a dead giveaway that it's going to be a 5/7 chord. Because it's D, F sharp, A, C. And then the last 2 notes are part of the G major chord. And it's the same for the second line as well. So 1, 1, 5, 1. We'll put you guys back in pairs, and we'll one person play the melody, one person play the chords, and of course if you have questions for one another, ask them, answer them, and then also give my attention to the referee.
So you want to play
I was just about to say, I bet you will.
I'll play the melody after the chords. Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I'm not.
Sorry, okay. 1,
Okay.
2, 3.
I was just.
Oh, so you're doing it in different versions, okay.
Yes, 5, 3, 1. And then where's your 5?
So you're doing it in
1,
second
3, 1, 2.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep, so you said that the C and D.
You should.
Wait, sure.
Because when you go all the way,
Okay.
I think I'm do side.
Go all the way through.
Yeah. it's-
Okay.
Once you said the 5/7
D,
is
We
so,
can go.
no, then we only do add the 10.
Okay.
The 5 pitches
Then
are
add the R's, so that we got the A.
3.
You want to do
That's
both
chords.
together?
Back to three.
One.
If you look, if you
And
think
then
about it,
this is
it's
what tells us
two,
whether it's a
sliding,
chord or a
keeping
chord.
his finger.
Right, that could also be an F natural. That would change. But the A, no matter what, it just, the A never changes, so we don't need that.
Well, it's a G?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, unplug it.
Nope, that's fine.
I'll try to.
Oh,
That's right.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay, so.
Yeah, it's just, it's like, it's when you think about it,
It's very familiar.
get into a hand, like we were talking about.
English called it bells
Well,
of, different sounding the bells of the churches in
Should I use
London.
my,
Yes.
that?
And,
Yeah, go ahead.
so it's a sweet song, I used to have my boys sing the song, because it's really pretty. They talk about the different names of the
Think, okay, well, if
churches,
it's
maybe they got them all in London. Pretty song.
that's a lot of,
There you go.
Yeah.
that's the
One more
short.
time, I need to get it.
Listen to this.
You know, and that's
I don't know.
worthwhile skill.
Great plan.
Okay.
They're gonna happen anyway.
Let's do it one
Ones
more
are gonna
time.
pass anyway.
Make it slow.
Sit in one key,
And then we can do
What else
this.
would you suggest?
that's the same
Social
thing.
pressure to teach
One.
kids piano.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
you play chords?
What else would you play?
It is
We can talk more about that
Right.
after class if you want. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah.
And a steady period without having this.
Real pretty song, yeah.
nature is really like torture.
It's, yeah, it's a little.
There you go.
Go through and do just the chords.
Okay, cool. One.
Yeah, I was trying to play with
Yeah.
both of my hands at the same time.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah,
guys.
there it
And
is.
I'll switch, you put in audio.
Yeah.
How's your practicing going with your?
I'll be, it is.
I'm sorry, what?
How's your practicing going with your poems?
Yeah.
A lot better.
It's really weird.
Well, I hear that.
Because that's harder.
It sounds like a guest start,
That's
Yeah.
hard.
but you know, well, it's fun.
It is.
Sounds good.
She's been showing up to the lessons now.
Yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
Fun.
That's okay, we'll just start again.
Yeah. Start again. All right.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2.
Oh, right, right, right.
I could wait too, Dash, wait.
Yeah, because a D major, second, D, F sharp, A,
You're seeing it here, right?
D, F sharp, A, C. And then, so when you see a
Yeah, there
C,
you go.
That was my first thing. I heard
Okay.
it.
you
I'm
can't
gonna
think
pull
of
you
it
guys
as
up
like
again.
a non-harmonic tone,
Big auditorium.
because it fits with the key. Like this,
So like there
this
again,
A right here,
you would be time to just say, okay,
it's going
like make sure you know what those notes are.
Well, that makes sense.
So
That's
I
what I
take the chord of G, E, D, it's just like, I'm just for the purpose of the melody.
But,
Alright. I'm sure you guys are pulling out of your headsets. Jeannie actually had a fun idea. She goes, you know what, I'm gonna learn a key every month. And I'm gonna play all the songs that I can find in G major, so I really fully understand what chords belong in G major and how that feels. She goes, within a year, I will have done all the keys. So it's very logical, right? Absolutely, because yes, when we're having to change keys all the time, it can be overwhelming if that's not what we're used to doing. I know the culture, you guys are dealing with all sorts of keys all the time, for sure. But as a learner, maybe have it more methodical. It's a great way to go about it. What are those other headsets?
C sharp major.
Oh, I don't even want to play in C sharp major. Alright, let's check out Amazing Grace. 58. Trying to give your brain just a little rest from the chords. Alrighty. We get parts 2 and 3. So Holly, will you just pick apart anything that you'd like? Paul, pick apart.
I'll figure it out. Okay.
Oh, pick apart?
Yeah, just pick apart.
2.
Alright. Alright, so anyone that is parts 2 and 3, you're the melody, so let's play your part first. Alright, so we make sure we recognize Amazing Grace. Alright. I'll give you guys a count off. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, we'll take the second ending, okay? They do give you the finger numbers in there, so if you're able to follow them, that'll make your life easier. If you don't grab them, just grab the notes, doesn't matter what finger you play, alright? Let's do parts 1 and 3. 1 and 3, alright? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, just 1 and 3. So no melody for now. Just sorry, let's start over. Just parts 1 and 4. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
1 and 4, no melody. Because we want to hear what the accompaniment stuff is. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Got some really strange intervals in there, but when it comes together, it's quite nice. All right, Andrew and Reagan, you guys got 5 and 6. Will you play that for us? I'm going to play the melody on top of you, actually, so we hear what it sounds like. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Lovely. Everyone, glue your eyes to your own part. Stick to your guns for your 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't be shy with the wrong notes. It's cool. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yourselves a round of applause. That was beautiful all together. I think we should do that again just for kicks.
We do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Alrighty. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Alrighty. For some of us, it's probably the first time seeing everything out on one page. Alright? So if you were just sticking with one part that would help you, I've done this with my scores occasionally, is I'll highlight my part so that my eyes go to the correct place when I'm changing pages, right? Because also you're like, oh, where am I? Oh, I lost my beat. Right? So just highlight your part, maybe even just the beginning of it to help track where you need to be. Super helpful when you're looking at something more than just a solo score. Alright? Okay, we're going to go back to more chords. If you want to stand up and stretch it out really quick. We're going to keep tackling those chords right there. All of our music is made out of harmony. chords. I made up some chords there, didn't sound very good. Alrighty, okay. Let's go to 54. I'm looking at item 4A. So the inversions actually become quite easy to spot in our music, right? Just because we see what intervals are closer together and which ones are further apart. So notice if I'm going to do it with a GBD. So our root position is easy to spot because everything's stacked perfectly. And then when we go into first inversion, it's the bottom that has the closer interval. And then when we go D, G, B. When we go into second interval, it's the top two that's closer. So visually we can actually see what's the first inversion, what's the second inversion. Okay? So, everyone, 4A, that one chord is in which inversion? First inversion, lovely. The fourth chord is in? Root. First chord is in?
First inversion.
First. The 5 chord is in?
Second.
Second. And the 1 chord is in?
First.
First. Yeah, right? Take a look at the one below it. The 1 chord is in which inversion?
Second.
Good. 4 chord is in?
First.
1 chord is in? Ooh, it's not. Second inversion. And then we have a 5-7 in root position. And we're back to 1 chord in, second inversion. Yeah, so be able to just name it off the bat what inversion it's in. You'll be way more successful with what fingering you're using. Okay. Let's go back to item A. So you're in F major. Okay. You're playing exactly what's written. Okay, so check your finger number, use your cheat sheet if you need to. Now you're looking at the right hand fingering numbers. And go into the 4 chord. Yes, we have a B flat. Root position. Go back to F major, first inversion. Drop everything, go down to G major, second inversion, and back to first inversion. These shapes are just all over the place, right? Pretend it's in 4/4. Just the right hand. 1, 2, ready, play. B flat major. F major, C major, F major. Yeah, one more. 1, 2, ready, play. B flat major, F major, C major, F major. Those chords will also mess me up. Talk to yourself, tell yourself what chord you're looking for when you're playing, right? So since right now it's in the key of F, it's written out. But let's see, did I put it? I did. But this is one of them, so review part of the review theory chords, because we're going to do this in different keys, starting on in the same shape, just once we have different sharps involved, how that feels within our finger. Okay. I'm going to skip another. Ooh, yeah. Okay, so then on that particular example, one in F major, right? I want you to track where those common tones are, right? So why would they go from a first inversion F major to a root position F, B flat major? They share that F. Notice that F stays the same height, the highest note. And then it goes back to a 1, which is the same. Now which is the common note from the 1 to the 5?
C.
C in the middle. Notice that C is in the middle in one chord, it's going to stay in the middle of another chord. And then you drop the other 2. And then keep the C in the middle. Takes you back up to F major. Okay. Yeah, so track those common tones. That's what I meant by on the board. So if you spell out loud, spell what chords you need, references to both fifths to make sure you're playing the correct qualities. Observe your common tones and see. Looking at your hand to make sure what's happening. Checking your fingerings. Okay? Alright. We're going to do a fun piece in root position though. It's called Connections. It's on page 48. The exciting thing is, everything in this piece is in root position. It looks really busy, looks really hard. It's actually not. I mean, it has its challenges, but it's very doable, I promise. Alright. All the repertoire in your piece, page 48. All the repertoire comes with guidelines to help you, to set you up. So the page before on 46 is really that. So it says scan connection, observe the use of root position triads. Right. Everything's in root position. Everything is stacked one on top of another. And throughout the entire thing. Super nice. There she also says use of broken chords. And so when the left hand's a black chord, your right hand will do the same chord, just one at a time. I'm going to take a look at, notice the articulation. So Lynn Freeman Olson, he put some staccatos in there you want to watch out for. Ooh, clef changes. Where are they? Who sees them? Circle them as you see them. Measure 5, you go into 2 treble clefs. Measure 6, you're back to bass clef. Measure 9, measure 12, measure 13. So he's making sure you stay on your toes and make sure you watch where you're going. And then the other item on the observation is the form. I'll talk about that with you guys. I'm going to play it for you guys. This particular form is very, very popular in a lot of music. It's called ABA form, right? So meaning there's going to be a very distinct A section. It's going to be that opening. And then somewhere along in the piece, that A section is going to come back, all right? And then everything in between is going to be a B section, right? You see your character will change, articulation will change, your keys might change, the pattern might change. So I'm going to play it for you, and I want you guys to see if you can figure out where exactly the B section starts. Okay. You'll be able to know where the A section comes back. You'll hear it. Right, so this is Connections. 1, 2, 1, 2. Hands do have to move quite a bit, but everything's in a root position chord, which is comforting. All right, so B section. Deidre, did you notice where the B section started?
Would it be at measure 13?
Ding. Perfect. Measure 13. Right, the pattern changes. There was also a clef change right there. Right. So will everyone find that F major chord in your right hand? Nice. Good. So now your left hand is also in treble clef. So notice where my F sharp and G sharp are. I'm going to put my left hand on top of my right hand to get to those flat keys. So here's my F major. My sharp, I'm going to be right there on my hand. Yeah, so your hands on top of one another. That's your B section right there. It's a lot of fun to play. Yes. Okay. Pause for a second. Alright. I did only ask for just the A section for Tuesday. But the B section is super fun, so feel free to take a look at it. But back onto page 46. Right? So as a class, we're going to discuss a sequence of practice steps that will ensure success with this piece. Ideas for how we can practice this piece, where although on paper it looks, what's going on? Austin, you have some ideas?
First step I'd say is look in your left hand and make sure you know what chords you're playing.
Ooh, so start with your left hand and find them perfect, so note that. So left hand, locate chords. Somebody else have an idea?
Then find the hardest part. So the hardest part in the right hand.
Ooh, yes.
Do that with, work on that.
I like the idea of going for the hardest part. We don't ever really want to do that, but
Just get out of the way.
just get out of the way, that's the way to
It's
go.
gonna have to happen, you know.
So in A section from bars 1 through 12, is there a particular couple measures that were particularly hard to use? Maybe it's notes, maybe it's rhythm, articulation.
Oh, 12. So you're going from 8 to 9,
Ah,
8 to 9,
because you're changing clefs?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then from, well, no, in the right hand, not the hardest part of the right hand. Going from 8 to 9,
Okay.
because then there is that thing coming out that, in 11, it's just different.
Yes.
It's just different from all the stuff you do all along.
Yep. And that actually happens in measure 5 too. 5 is different.
Oh, oh, yeah.
5 and 6.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's
11
right.
and 12. Right, so you want to check that rhythm for sure.
Uh-huh.
Bum, 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 so that you treat the eighth notes like eighth notes. Because you've been playing a whole line of 16th notes, you might be tempted to stay in 16ths. Yeah, so make sure, so that could be a bold point, so watch out for rhythm. Rhythm changes. And then, I tend to do this, nothing on the page looks weird to me anymore, but 13 actually does look really weird, right? The way that they bar the 16th notes. So it's right, left, right, left. So your eyes are doing a zigzag, going up, down, up, down. Down, 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 down. Any other suggestions for if you're on that left hand? How to find those chords?
Yeah. Is it, more specifically, I'd say like knowing what the motion is between, because you have to lift your hand up, you can't, there's no way you can just stretch your hand.
Nope, you're gonna, because they're all root position chords, it's always gonna be 5-3-1, 5-3-1, 5-3-1. Absolutely, right? So then, ooh, this actually comes in handy, so why the title Connections?
Between the left hand and the right hand,
That could
in
be
the same
one.
measure, they're using the same
Absolutely.
chord.
There's some more levels of connections in there. I'll let you play around with
It's
this.
the same sequence,
Sequence, that's the word, yeah. Going from, where do you see that sequence, Bill?
well, like, not a it goes up a third.
Yeah, right, so you're gonna go from a
And
C
you have to
major.
move your hands, you have
You
to
do.
move your, both. But it's the same movement, even though you start from a different, position, but you'll move up the same third.
Exactly, perfect. Right, so in bar 1, we have a C major, and it goes to an E minor, so it's a skip up. And then in bar 3, G major, skip up. Right? But actually notice, it's a major chord, skips up to a minor chord. Major chord, skips up to a minor chord. And that may or may not continue. Okay. Below for the major minors, and yes, have your hand match, check out the rhythm. All right. If you hop on the website, there's a recording on there as well. Right, so if you want us to listen to it and follow along with it, play with it. It gets stuck in your head. Alrighty, that's it for today. That's plenty, right? Plenty. Excellent. So those things on the board, and we'll keep tackling the chord stuff on Tuesday. Thanks, guys.
And I was just trying to get that. One of the kids